And I just want to add our graphic in here so everybody can see it, but I don't see it there, Paulina. I don't know why. It's always weird that our background doesn't show up. I don't know. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. All
Yay.
right. Yeah.
Nice. Brightens it up too.
Yeah. Thanks. I don't know why it says it doesn't put it in till it starts. So
You know
anyway,
what it is, Jean? We have so much energy in us that we're just blowing out all the
blowing it
circuits.
all away.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well, listen, thank you for being here and welcome to Milk Crate Moments because I have the most interesting, I'm going to call her a character, the most interesting character I have ever had the pleasure of talking to for about 10 minutes, which was like 2 hours then, right? So Paulina Milana is a business and life coach who uses storytelling to help her clients have a breakthrough so that they can get to that next level in their life wherever they want to be. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Paulina, the first thing I want to talk about is what was your milk crate moment?
Milk crate moment. So I have to say, I love this whole kind of milk crate moment. It's super smart, Jean. And how many of us have them? How many of us don't really realize we have them? Right.
Mhm.
So for me, my whole life, I've had milk crate moment after milk crate moment after milk crate moment. I kind of like to say, I wasn't born yesterday. So that's why, right? And I've lived like my 9 lives of a cat instead of just one. So my milk crate moment, I had always had a vision for myself, and I am at my core a writer. Started out as a features reporter for a daily newspaper. Storytelling has always been my thing, right?
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, I am going to take the stories that have happened to me and I'm going to fictionalize them. And I had put together a couple of screenplays, and shock of shocks, and I shouldn't be shocked, but they won a couple of awards. And here I was, I thought, oh, I'm on my path. I am going to take off. I lived in Chicago at the time. I am a family caregiver. My mother and my younger sister both were diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and
Oh,
I was their caregiver. So it was really a challenge to have my own life. Well, got to the point where I was like, I gotta go. I feel like I'm meant to be in California.
mhm.
And without knowing anybody, without having anything, stars just aligned for me to come to California, live here for free with an elderly woman who gave me like a room in her home just to be a companion. So everything's like on the path, everything's going great, right? And then 9/11 hits. And they shut down all production for films other than anything that's comedy or family. So now here I am. I know nobody. I
Wait, hold on one second. Was that 9/11 or was that the pandemic?
9/11.
Oh, I didn't know they shut everything down for 9/11 like
So
that. Okay.
2001, they decided, right, the airspace shut down, right? Everybody was in this fear kind of thing. At the time, all film production shut down unless it was a comedy, right? So anything that was scary, they wanted nothing to do with it, right? Okay.
Okay.
So here I am. I am 36 years old. I should already have my schism together, right? I don't have it together. I thought I did, but I didn't. So, long story short, I end up getting kicked out of the elderly lady's home. I now have to find a place that I've got to pay for. I end up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in North Hollywood in a studio apartment that all I had was a mattress. That's it. Boxes that were my dresser drawers, and a cat that I took with me from Chicago. And one day I'm sitting around and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is not my life. What in the world happened to me?" Right? And I take out a sheet of paper. And being a writer, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to write my way into my life. And I wrote down the house that I wanted. And on that sheet of paper, I wrote down I want a house with a fireplace big enough to cook 2 children. Spoiler alert, it's behind me. Um, I wrote down on that piece of paper, I want a house with more windows than walls. I want a house that had an outdoors, but I didn't want to take care of it. Like I just wrote stuff down, right? And I put it away. A friend that I had met out here says, let's go take a Sunday drive. So we take a Sunday drive, and she says to me, what happened to you? When you came out here, you were full of energy. You were going to become this thing, right? And I was like, Mia, I don't know what happened. Like I I don't know, I took a wrong turn somewhere. And she's like, you were going to buy a house. What's wrong? Like what's going on? Now remember, now we're at 2005, the beginning of 2005. And I said, a house, Mia, I'm making $40,000 a year. My credit is crap. We're in California, right? And it's the height of the market. Everybody's asking for a lot for nothing. I said, forget it. It's not going to happen. We cross an open house sign, and Mia says, let's go take a look at this house. And I'm like, whatever. Because at this point, I'm just deflated. That's my milk crate. I was literally poof, on the ground. So we go and we start driving up this hill. And as I go up the hill, I look over the side and there's this gorgeous valley. And you know that moment in your life when you're like, wait, I've been here before. I feel this,
A
right?
little deja vu.
A little deja vu. And I'm like, okay, so I sit up and I'm interested. We come into the drive. We get out of the car. There's my little white picket fence that was on my list. We open it up. I come onto the landing. I see the house and I freaking freeze. And Mia turns around and she's like, what's the matter with you? Come on. And I'm like, Mia, we got to go. And she goes, what's wrong? And I said, we got to get out of here because this is my house. It was like somebody took my paper, built me the house. And I know myself. I know that I would sign away, right? I want it. I'm going to sign for it. So she's like, don't be ridiculous. Come in. So we come in. The realtor, her name was Stella. I'll never forget her. She looked like, if anyone remembers the show Married with Children, she looked exactly like Peg Bundy, right? So yes, big poof and well endowed, God bless her, because I wish, but it was just really kind of comical. And when we come into the house, it had everything that I wanted: wood beams, the windows. The woman had incredible furniture: a leather plumber's sofa, a roll top desk, a 4-poster bed. It was like my house. And I keep trying to backpedal and get out. And the realtor says, girls, the owner sold this house and it fell out of escrow. She now has to sell it in, I think it was like 22 days, or she can't get into her next house. So she's accepting all offers. Well, the offer that was on the table it started out, I think, at $860,000, right? And then they crossed it out, and I think it was something like 593 or something. Still, you might as well tell me that it's like a
Right.
$1 dollars, right? Yeah, exactly. When you got nothing, right? So I get out of the house, I go home, but I can't get the house out of my head. So what do? I write the woman a letter. And my letter tells her my life story. My letter tells her how I have nothing, how this house speaks to me, how it is my house. And I make her an offer for $150,000 less than her lowest thing that was on the sheet, right? So about a half a mil that I don't have. Did I mention that? I don't have it, right? So I put the letter in the mailbox. And I don't know if it was that night or a couple days later, but the realtor calls me up and says, oh, Paolina, we got your letter. We loved it, but she got a couple offers over what she was even asking. So I'm sorry, it's not going to work. So I hang up the phone and I do one of those railing at God, right? No, it's my house. How can this happen? Right. A couple days later, the owner calls me up and she says, hi, Paolina, this is Alyssa. I own the house. And you know what? I can't get your letter out of my head. Do you want to come see me? And I'm like, hell yes. So I come to see her. I come in. The realtor looks like if she had a knife, she would stab me in the eyes. And Alyssa is sitting there at the table, and she goes through her life and the trials that she kind of triumphed over. And she says, Paulina, the first time I sold this house, I sold it for money and it fell out of escrow. Look what happened, right? This time I'm going to sell it to someone who I think will love it the way I do, and that's you. So I accept your offer. So in 22 days, I got to come up with a half a mil, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So serendipitously, it's the shock of shocks. I connect with a guy who happens to be a mortgage broker. And this guy somehow, because remember, it's 2005. Everybody's giving loans to anybody who's breathing,
Right.
right? That's a good thing for me because I was breathing. That's about all I had going for me. So the guy manages to get me like these two crazy loans that make up the half a million. I am putting nothing down. I I don't even think, yeah, I didn't even have like that PMI or whatever when you don't have 10%. Long story short, I'm in the escrow office and the woman says, oh, there's been a mistake. This loan was done out of Des Moines. And Des Moines didn't know that California has this other thing. So the monthly that they quoted you is actually going to be different. Now, in my silly brain, I think it's going to be less. So I'm like, yay. She's like, no, it's going to be $500 a month more. Now, again, I have nothing. I got this loan. Now you're telling me it's even more when I didn't have the original, right? So what does a smart girl do? She phones a friend. In this case, it was my brother. My brother's in Chicago. He's in construction. And I say to him, Ross, I feel like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life when he was about to leave the building and loan. And they say to him, but George, if you leave, they're going to go with Potter. And I said to him, this is my house. If I leave it, what's going to happen to it? And my brother says to me, let me get this straight. You have crap credit. You only make 40 grand a year. They're giving you a $500,000 loan for this house. By the time they figure out you can't pay with the way the market is, you'll be in that house for a year. I say sign. So what did I do? I signed. I know it's the craziest advice. I know. Anybody listening out here, all I can tell you is
You better have a guardian angel.
there's an energy, there's a certain level of, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this is mine, right? And I'll tell you what's fascinating. I sign. The day I move in, I'll never forget it because all I had was my mattress, my cat, and those boxes and my clothes. I open the door. All of her gorgeous furniture is still in here. The leather sofa, the roll top desk, the everything. And I call her up and I say, "Hey, Alyssa, do you still need time to move out? Because I still have my apartment." And she says, "You know, Paulina, your letter said you had nothing. And all of this kind of furniture doesn't fit in the new house. So I thought I'd just leave it for you. You can do whatever you want. You can sell it, you can keep it. Everything, plates, flatware, the fireplace stuff, rugs, chairs. I couldn't believe it. Fully furnished, right? Beautiful stuff. So then it gets even better because shortly after that, I live on a hillside and they send or at that time they sent a fire marshal out to tell me where I had to do brush clearance. So the guy comes out and he says, okay, behind the house you've got to clear here, here, here. And I'm like, okay, fine. He goes to the front of the house where that gorgeous valley was when we were driving up, and he says, all right, you see over there, you got to clear to over there, and you see across the street over there, you got to clear over there. And I'm like, sorry, why am I clearing all the way over there? And he goes, well, ma'am, those 3 vacant lots are part of what you own. So again, I think Alyssa made a mistake. So I call her up and I'm like, hey, Alyssa, and this tells you I had no business buying a house. I had no idea what I was buying, right?
Right.
So I say to Alyssa, Alyssa, I think maybe there was a mistake. They're saying these 3 vacant lots are part of the thing. And she goes, oh no, Paulina, I put those in there because I didn't want anybody to build and ruin your view. So she says, like, she's like, all I want is if I can sometimes come there and sit outside. And I'm like, lady, you can live with me. Like, you are my fairy godmother, right? So we become friends. At the end of the day, it's crazy because she ends up helping me find my husband where I wasn't looking for a husband. I was already like 40, I think. And all I wanted, I wrote on a piece of paper my bucket list. And what I wanted was the ride on the back of a Harley. And who pops up in a match.com but this guy on a Harley? So we start dating, we get serious. Alyssa says, why don't you come over to my new house? You've never seen it. I'll meet your guy. You can meet my husband. So we go. And of all the crazy serendipitous things, when she introduces me to her husband, he turns around, looks at me, and says, Paulina? And I look at him and I say, Chris, I used to teach adults at night school for marketing. He was my favorite student. I was his favorite teacher. And the fact that he ends up marrying this lady, I don't even know, who ends up selling me her house. It's the whole thing. It was like somebody up there was like orchestrating it, sort of like a movie. You know what I mean? Like where
Mhm.
everything just kind of happens, right? So there's my milk crate moment from the depths of
Poverty,
yeah, totally, really, right? And
right?
oh, this is great too, because here I am. I still don't know how I'm paying for the house. Shortly after I got into the house, a company that was the competitor of the people I worked for in Chicago came after me and made me an offer that I took, and that paid my mortgage. So there you go. I'm still in the house and we're almost paid off. Like it's honestly
You
miracles
know,
happen.
you know what's so funny is
But
sometimes, and really what I love, Paulina, I have to ask you a question. When this was all playing out, could you see the serendipitous actions that were happening as they were going? Or was it not until you stopped and looked back on your life a little and you're like, huh,
holy moly, yeah. You know what? I will honestly say that as it was unfolding, there was something in me that was like, "What's that? Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that." And the more that it happened, the more that I started putting it out there for the next kind of step, right? So even in the work that I do with people, right? I always love to say your life is not a fairy tale, but you are the hero of your own story. And what I have learned to do is just like when we watch a movie or read a book, right? And you've got the hero and you know that the hero's getting in trouble, but you're like, come on, you can do it. Oh my God, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But you know, at the end of that movie, they will most likely be okay, right? They're going to get what they want.
there's a
That is how
formula.
I have learned, yeah, to like focus my own life and help others see themselves as their own little hero, right? We get so mucked down in where we're at in the moment instead of thinking, but wait, I want this over here. And what gets me there, right? So, how do I get matched up with what I want? So, that has happened. I will say one last thing, and then I know I blah 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 blah. But one last thing, I will tell you that while in the moment I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that's magic. There are times where then I take stock of my life, so to speak, and I look back at like decades at a time and then I see the mind-blowing serendipitous stuff, right?
Mhm.
That you could never know until you really strategically look at it and see what happened and how it happened. And honestly, that 9 times out of 10 you had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. I can't think of a time where I've had that many serendipitous moments, like where I could look back and say, oh, I can see where literally the hand of God was in all of
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how I feel when I've heard your story,
Yeah.
right? That literally God had his hand in all of this for you.
Yeah.
Paulina, I just love this story so much. And while you told it with a smile on your face, there was really no emotional piece there, meaning like there was no, you didn't make me cry, but
Oh,
you made me smile with such a sense of, oh my godness, right? Oh my God, this stuff does happen to people. And I don't, I think we all have, so I wouldn't call that a milk crate moment where we look back and all of the, I would call that a manifestation moments,
a
right? You've
manifestation
had a
moment.
lifetime of manifestation moments.
Yeah. But every manifestation moment has come
Starts
out of
with,
that milk crate, right?
yeah.
Out of that so for me, and I don't know about your listeners, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people who I'm a planner. I'm a doer, right? If somebody needs something done, it comes to me, right? And I get it done. It is a challenge for me to sit back and let it kind of unfold, right? Because I always think I know better, but and I can do it and I can orchestrate it. So every time that I've gotten to the point where I no longer know which way to go, my milk crate moments, that is when the magic takes off. I'll give you another example. So I have 5 books out, and I'm proud to say 4 have won awards. But this one, and I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it's
It's
back.
backwards.
Yeah, yeah, it's backwards. But it's Miracle on Mall Drive. This is a book that is a fictional novel based on true story where a bunch of people on a Christmas Eve snowstorm get stuck in a mall and they have to come together, even though they're all very different, and survive the night, get out, right, and figure out what to do on a bigger picture level.
Mhm.
Well, this book, the characters, everything wouldn't shut up, wouldn't shut up. And I was like, I don't have time to write this story, but they wouldn't not let me do it. So I started writing the story. One day I was so frustrated and I went to Eaton Canyon. I go hiking there sometimes, and I'm hiking there and I talked to God, I talked to trees, and I was like, "Hey, God, I don't have time to write a story about Christmas Eve. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I have no idea. Can you give me a sign?" I'm on my way home from that hike. A car comes right in front of me, and the license plate says Xmas Eve. Now, Gene, for that to happen, right? It
Right.
can't just be a right.
It's not just a coincidence. There's
It's
no
not.
coincidences, right? That was, oh my
Right.
gosh.
I think that's a sign.
That is
So
a sign.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. So anyway, so I will say when I get to my moments like you, like of that milk crate moment, right?
Mhm.
That crushing surrender.
Right.
That is when something else takes over and I take off. So, if I could learn how to sustain that and not have like the milk crate moments happen, I'd be in business.
I I actually think what you said before is so correct though, that without those milk crate moments and that we ask for that help, it's in the asking that we receive,
Yeah,
right? And I
I
think,
100%
oh
agree.
my God,
Yeah.
Paulina, I just adore you. We had the best chat a month or so ago.
Yes.
I literally could have sat here and talked to you for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm moving in with you when I come to California.
Please. Wouldn't that be fun? We'd get into a lot of trouble.
We could get in a lot of trouble. But listen, I have a couple things I want to do, and we're a little over time, but I
Sure.
think the story was so worth getting it out the way you told it.
Yeah.
And listen, you guys, this is what she does for a living. She helps people tell their story like that, right?
Mhm,
So that when that people want to hear it.
mhm.
So what are the other books you've written?
Yeah, sure. So, and just so you know, a lot of people come to me for the book coaching, right? Because they really do have an idea for a book and they don't know how to get it done. And I have helped people really turn their traumas into triumphs. That's kind of my sweet spot. So I do that. But on the flip side, people who are stuck in their business, stuck in their life, I use the storytelling techniques to help them overcome adversity and get to where they want to go. But
Love it.
these are a couple of books. I have 2 memoirs out. One is The S Word, that's behind me. This is the second part, Committed. And it's the story of being raised by a mom who was paranoid schizophrenic and then raising my younger sister, paranoid schizophrenic. This little book, talk about milk crate moment. Oh boy, hold on. There we go.
What's it say? What's
Backwards again.
seriously? Are we there yet? Okay.
Yes. Seriously, are we there yet? This is a illustrated Dr. Seussy rhyming picture book for adults. Because you know how little kids in the car are like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, at a certain point in your life, you're like, are we friggin' there yet? Like, I thought I'd have it all together by now, right? So this book is for all of us who are of a certain age, who think to ourselves, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and how to actually get back in the game and journey on, right? So I love the book. It's gotten a lot of praise, a lot of, there's a workbook now, a little kind of journal coloring book, doodle book that goes with it. But anyone who's feeling stuck, it's a super short read and it really, really lifts your spirits. So I hope you'll check it out.
Not only am I going to check it out, but I want you to hang on after we hang up here because I want to buy that, but I want an autographed copy. I don't want some bullshit Amazon copy, right?
Okay, deal.
All right.
Deal.
Okay. So, listen, I know there must be people, I'm a huge fan and I want to make sure that let me find out where I put it. There we go. I want to show them how they can get in. Oh, I have to save it. There we go. Now I can have to show it there. Should be there, right? madness-to-magic.com/madness-2-magic-1-on-1-coaching.
Yeah, I like words.
Yeah, I guess. Right? Can they get to this link if they just go to madness-to-magic.com?
If they go to madness-to-magic.com and go under coaching, there's 3 different options, right? So there's, if you're interested in book coaching, if you're interested in career coaching, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can choose. But basically, I'm happy I do a free 30-minute to anyone who just kind of wants to talk. And, if there's something I can do to help, I will definitely offer it. And who knows, maybe we will partner up.
Love it, love it, love it. Paolina, thank you for being on Milk Crate Moments. I am so excited that we met, and I cannot wait to come to California and meet you.
Yay!
Or you come to Chicago and save me the trouble. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, have a lovely day. Thanks for being here, and don't go anywhere.
I won't.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye, everybody.
Bye.